everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to the weekly live show. Not technically the first one of the year. If you guys did not already see my live stream that I did on New Year's Day, we talked all about the astrology of 2022. Make sure you check that out. It gives you insight as to what's going to play out for the next year and lots of kind of insightful themes that's happening with the astrology of 2022. So welcome to the live show. This week we're doing tarot. Those of you guys who are new to my channel, welcome. We alternate. So every week we do a live show. 1 week is tarot, one is astrology. Tarot this week. So we're going to be doing readings live, obviously. We will have an overhead cam, so you'll be able to see the cards in real time as I'm pulling them. There's a QR code somewhere up here if you take a look. So if you are watching on a television screen or on a laptop and you want to make a donation for a reading, you're welcome to do so. You can just scan that. Also, we have Super Chat, or you can find the link located in the chat box if you would like to make a donation. $20 for one card, $40 for 3 cards. Ask whatever you would like. If you guys are not already aware, I've been kind of beating the drum of this for a little while now. I have memberships on my channel. There's 3 levels, level 1, 2, and 3. So if you do like my content, if you're liking the extra content that I'm making, by supporting the channel and either getting a reading or subscribing as to and becoming one of my members, it makes it possible for me to keep doing what I'm doing. So that's the benefit of being a member. If you're level 3, you're gonna get 1 reading once a month. So it's 1 question about astrology, or you're gonna get 1 3-card spread. It's kind of a cool way to be able to stay in touch with me. So you can get questions once a month, or you can follow up with me, especially considering I'm just super, maybe it's the beginning of the year, I don't know, I'm super busy right now, so it can be kind of difficult getting in and getting a reading with me, and it's a great way to sample and get a vibe for how I'm reading by asking 1 question or even just watching the readings. A lot of people have been commenting and saying they learn a lot watching the live shows, whether it's the tarot or the astrology, so that's really cool as well. Want to give a shout out to all my level 3s and level 2s who support Beyond the Veil. People like Paula, Catherine Murray, Hera, Nancy, Sam Norton, Phoenix, Jessica Martinez, Anjali, Emma, and Susan Wexler. Thank you guys, you're superstars. Appreciate you for making that donation monthly and being one of my members. If there are any level 3 member people, let me know. This is the very first live reading of the month. So guys, we have several shows, well, a lot of shows this month. So just a heads up, we are fully moving to Saturdays. Unless there's something that changes, you can expect to pretty much see me from here on forward doing these readings on Saturdays. The stream's better, there's less conflict with the stream. We also find that there's more engagement, probably because people are hanging out sometimes at home, maybe they don't want to go out, and you're not having to worry with commuting. I'm on Pacific time, so it's always 7 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock Eastern. Check your time zones accordingly. But pretty much from here on out, unless there's a change in my schedule, we're gonna be here on Saturday evenings. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more Saturdays this month. So we are definitely, or 3 more Saturdays this month, but there's 4 total. So we're really gonna have an opportunity to see everybody. So if you miss 1 show, no worries, just a heads up. Usually we're gonna be back on Saturday night. And just go into the chat and let me know your question. Hey Toddman, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. I'll give everybody a couple minutes just to get in. We appreciate your likes, your comments, your shares. Hitting the bell button allows you to know when I'm putting out content. And also get alerts when I'm coming out with videos or when I'm going live. Subscriptions have been awesome. We've seen a real boost in subscriptions happening. It's crazy. Pretty much somewhere around February, March-ish of last year is when I really consistently started coming back onto the channel. Took a bit of a hiatus for a couple years. Now I'm back and it's been awesome. We've seen like subscribers double. Now we have the live shows, regular content that's coming out. So we've got that kind of underway, and I just got a bunch of new equipment so I can start doing more regular, shorter kind of vlog videos where I can talk to you guys about transits, start teaching more. So there's a lot of new content coming to the channel. So I'm really stoked for that, and hoping to maybe even do like some fireside chats and stuff with other people and just bring a little bit more diversity to the channel, because I've got a lot of cool friends that are readers and they're involved in either tarot or astrology. So I think it'd be cool to just kind of showcase some of my interesting cast of friends in my life and what they're doing as well. So hopefully you guys like some of the stuff that we are getting ready to be putting out. Now, if you make a purchase, do let me know if your name differs on PayPal versus YouTube, because sometimes you'll make a purchase and the name is different. We have a couple people in the queue, so if we have not heard from the level 3 peeps, then we're gonna move on. We've got Rachel, and we've got Matthew, and we've got Phoebe in the queue. I appreciate your patience. I will be doing the readings in the order that I receive them. So I just ask for a little bit of patience as we go through the readings, because sometimes we can kind of get a couple of people, more than a couple of people waiting. It can be 8, 9, 10 people waiting at a time. Hello, 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 Tiara. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it because I have not seen any of the regulars pop in. I'm going to start with Rachel. Rachel, let me know if you are here. Sometimes people will also purchase the readings. They drop me their questions in the memo for the PayPal, and they'll come back and watch the video. So if you're somebody who's popping in later, unfortunately, until the live stream is done, you can't go back and watch it. So don't worry. If you're one of those people who makes the purchase and you can't actually stay tuned for the whole live, you'll be able to go back at a later date. All right. So Rachel says, things ended with the Pisces I was dating. I reconnected with an old love who's a Taurus. Oh, I love how you snuck that little sign in there. I met someone new, also a Taurus, on New Year's. I'm ready for something stable and lasting. When I find real love? Well, let's take a look and let's see what the cards have to say for you. Interesting that there's like a lot of Taurus energy coming into your chart. There she is. Rachel, remind me, don't you have like a lot of Virgo energy in your chart? Are you like a Virgo sun or a rising? For some reason, I thought that that's the case. If you guys ever want to let me know your sun, moon, or rising also, that's helpful because I can really hone in on sometimes what the cards are saying. But let's see what the cards say for your love life. She made a 3-card reading purchase. All right, the Lovers, the Ace of Swords, and the Queen of Cups. So one thing I would say that's kind of interesting is that the cards do seem to kind of insinuate there is like, almost like not misconnections, but there's some kind of mix going on here, like duality, doubles, options, choices, right? So the Lovers card does talk about passion, but it also talks about temptation. It's not so much the more romantic side of love and relationships. It can be talking more about sex, pleasure, kind of sampling 2 different things at once, feeling things out before really making a move or making a decision. So you're a Taurus sun, Libra moon, Libra rising. So one thing I would say, because if we're looking at this from like a whole sign house perspective, if you're a Libra rising, Libra moon, moon on the ascendant, sun in the 8th, that may not be the case for your Placidus chart, but I think about like how through a series of meeting people and have experiences with people, and maybe seeing more than one person kind of showing up, it's like really helping you realize what you do and what you do not want. Sometimes through the process of comparison and like meeting 2 people at one time or having an ex come back or anything like that, you can see across the board where like 2 or sometimes even 3 people are acting very differently of each other. And you can get a vibe for like, nope, I don't like this anymore. Nope, that's not what I'm attracted to. Oh, this person's got this quality. I really like this. And it's very mercurial. It's very communicative because this is a card that deals with Gemini. This is a card that deals with communication. I would say that I don't know if you're having a hard time like turning down like just sex for fun or pleasure. I think of like Saturn being in your 5th house, and certainly for Libra risings or Libra moons, the theme of the next month is going to be kind of interesting because you're going to have a Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, which is your 5th house. An air sign, very communicative. It can be a lot about expressing what's on your heart, how you're feeling. There can be miscommunications in relationships, so there can be a sense of being like, maybe it's not A or B, maybe it's C. So the feeling that I'm getting from people that you're meeting is things aren't quite a perfect fit. No relationship is, but that you may be more aware through these interactions that you're having with people and moving through the lessons of dating a lot more quickly, and being able to kind of communicate whether or not you're just looking for fun. It may be hard for you to like turn down like a hookup or turn down just having something for the sake of pleasure, because that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with the Ace of Swords and the Lovers card. I would say if you're not looking for just a hookup, it's definitely not a time to be telling people that you're meeting, oh, I'm just looking for something casual, I just want to have fun. If you feel like you have to tell people that so that way they don't get spooked or, you know, you don't come across as like clingy, I would say absolutely not. That's not what you want to be doing. With Saturn in your 5th house, making trines to your ascendant, making trines to your moon rules your 10th house. The 10th house is about your career, but it's also about parenting. So one thing that's kind of coming through is like, I would say you can't talk about a 5th house transit or the ruler of the 10th house without parenting. Is there something shifting where you're like, you know what? I really do want to have physical connections. I do want to have sex, but I know that that may not always lead to me having a really serious committed relationship with somebody. And I don't want to give my heart away or connect with people who aren't on the same page and they're also not equally looking, you know, for true love or commitment or a family or a committed relationship. I want commitment, but it's been complicated for sure, and I want someone loyal. One thing I would say is that your intuition right now seems a little clouded, because the Queen of Cups is coming up reversed, so it can be kind of saying like, are you second guessing yourself? Are you assuming things? Ace of Swords reversed and the Queen of Cups can be talking about like getting in your head and not having the conversations that you really know that you should be having. And is there a sense of you indulging more in connection and pleasure and not wanting to rock the boat by being like, oh, by the way, so what are you looking for? You know, a really simple solution with some of the cards that are coming up is like not putting yourself in a situation where you're having a one-night stand, not immediately jumping into physical connection, being really clear about these boundaries. Because if I were to read this in a sequence, card 1, 2, and 3, it's saying you're only going to get hurt if there are things that are on your mind that you're not expressing or communicating. And rather than sitting and thinking about it and over processing and wondering if it's a good match or if, you know, they're going to be somebody who's going to be loyal or honest, rather than biting your tongue, have the conversations, and you're going to really kind of cut through the bullshit, Ace of Swords, very quickly. Now, the Lovers card makes me feel like that you are meant to have almost like right now, like a fork in the road. I'm especially interested in like the past person coming back. I don't know if you want to expand on that, but I feel like the Lovers card is like a lot of like too little too late, or somebody kind of coming in and telling you how they're feeling, but you're concerned about falling into the same patterns or the same kind of mental traps or communication traps. You know, I would say being a Libra rising, Tauruses, even though you are a Taurus, Tauruses are going to be a bit of a problem because it's your 8th house. So they're going to look at you and go, what do you want? Do you want the food? Do you want the romance? Do you want the flowers? Do you want the money? Do you want the sex? And it's almost like a temptation energy in the 8th house. But Libra risings don't always mesh well with Taurus suns because they can have a tendency to be all talk and tell you what you want to hear, and not always show up in a way that's more Libra, that's more partnership. The Taurus sun aspect can be more selfish. So being that you're a Taurus sun, it's also a little bit of you learning to be more selfish and going, no, I want what I want, and I want that sexual connection, and I want it to be safe, and I want it to be secure, and I want it to be with one person, otherwise I'm not going to partake at all. So I think the Ace of Swords is really kind of standing out for me as there's going to be some definitive decisions that are going to be made. Like for me, that's the real death card. So if that were to come up and somebody were to say, hey, is the relationship over, or am I going to lose my job, or, you know, is so-and-so going to die, they're sick, I would be like, well, you know, that's kind of what it looks like is going to happen. So in the case of the ex, or in the case of certain people that you're kind of entertaining right now, I would say, I don't see a reoccurring habit or pattern of you allowing those revolving doors to stay. You may finally shut doors with people and be like, actually, you know what? I'm not looking for the same thing as you. I don't think we're on the same page. It was nice to meet you. he's a Taurus, we've known each other for years, but I don't know where it will go, and he knows I want more of a commitment. The one thing I would say is like putting it all out there and letting the chips fall as they may, because I think the Lover's card is kind of saying like, you are dealing with some individuals right now who may be literally saying whatever they need to say just to get into your pants, or, you know, just telling you all of the things that you want to hear. And the Queen of Cups can be talking about your intuition kind of being really high right now, and you thinking to yourself like, can I trust this? Is this real? A time to really watch being a Libra rising is definitely going to be once I think Mercury comes into a conjunction with Saturn, and that's going to be in Aquarius. So this will be post Mercury retrograde. I'll give you the date for that. So there's a lot of like truths coming out in regards to goals and relationships around the Mercury Cazimi on January 22nd. And then Mercury goes direct, and then Mercury is going to come into a conjunction with Saturn, and that'll be the end of February. And it won't just be the Mercury-Saturn conjunction, it'll square the nodes. And then again, when Mars and Venus come into conjunction in Aquarius, also early April. Just a heads up, you know, that Mars-Venus entrapment between, you know, Venus and Aquarius, between Saturn and Mars for a lot of Libra risings is going to be breakups, and it's going to be relationships ending because they're going to realize that their partners aren't actually really making them happy anymore, or that they're not really in love with their partners, or that their partners aren't really showing them true love, or like they're not really ready for marital relationships, or they're not really ready to have children. So like a lot of Libras are going to dump people. So I know you're a Taurus, you know, just know that the eclipses are going to bring people in and out of your life. To me, it seems like you're in the clearing out period still, and you may be in that clearing out period until closer to about April, May. And then I think that there's going to be yet another decision that you have to make. So for right now, any fears or concerns or doubts, or even like feeling of like paranoid, like, oh, I don't know if I can trust them again, you have to listen to that, because the Queen of Cups, when she's reversed, she gets very emotional and moody, because the answers are there. You know the answers to some of these things already. You just don't really know how to have the conversations. And as 2022 goes on, I think all of the elements in Aquarius is really great for Libra, but it's really hard for Taurus. And so on one hand, you're coming and you're more in alignment with yourself. But on the other hand, all of the squares for Taurus from Aquarius is like status changes, title changes, like having issues because people don't want to adapt and say, yes, I'm your boyfriend, or yes, I want to, you know, get married or get engaged. These are going to be some of the issues that you may have with men in this next year. But Jupiter going into your 7th is, I think, going to materialize probably as smoother waters in the relationship department, especially once we get into Gemini season. So I know that, you know, Mercury retrograde, I know I'm going way down the line, but I think of like Mercury in Gemini, you know, at the end of May going into June, trining your moon, trining your ascendant, trining your Saturn placements in the 5th is like, things are going to be more clear during Gemini season for you, and you're going to realize that if something hasn't been working, you can pivot and you can choose another partnership. But I'm a little concerned about you holding back right now, or feeling like you're taking up with people that you know may not really be ready, but you're doing it anyway. So just watch out for all the traps and be very clear about your boundaries, and like don't be afraid to tell people like what's up, right? Especially with Saturn right now in a trine actually to your ascendant. Like when it comes to your happiness, you have to be very clear with what does and does not work. Even if that means going through periods of not having a consistent partner, or, you know, breaks in periods in dating, okay? Let me know how that plays out. Hopefully well, but I would say be careful with what people tell you. All right, so let me go ahead and get back to the PayPal. We've got Matt, Kurt, who has 2 questions. Thank you for your questions. So I will pull 2 separate spreads for those for you. Those of you guys who are just tuning in, thanks for watching. We're doing live readings. Check out the QR code if you would like to book a reading. Also, if any of the level 3 people show up, let me know. We'll get you in the queue. So you have 2 questions tonight asking about your work situation. I have 1 more week at this job before I transition over to being a teacher at the same company for at-risk youth. There's been a COVID outbreak at work, but I've tested negative so far, although I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Is it something I can push through during my 16-hour shift on Sunday? It's something I can push through. However, I'm considering calling out and feeling a bit torn on this. I've never called out during my 1.5 years at the company, and I really despise people who call out chronically because it puts staff in a difficult situation. The primary reason for me wanting to call out is my 16-hour shift, and I just don't want to have to go through the chaos of wondering if one of my coworkers is actually going to show up or not. The chronic call-out rate has turned into something I don't want to be considering calling out. So is it super wrong of me to exaggerate my sickness and basically skip my 16-hour weekend shift? Would my guides be disappointed in me? And would it create karma? So let's start off there. You're welcome, Rachel. Good luck. Trust me on this. Make the changes now. Otherwise, April's going to be challenging. All right, so let's see. So what happens and what is the karmic repercussions or the fallout for calling out sick? 1, 2, 3. One thing I will tell you, Kurt, because I remember you have like I think you have an Aries rising and you've got a lot of Cap in your 10th. Mercury rules your 6th of health and wellness and coworkers. So Mercury in its shadow and getting ready to go retrograde conjunct Pluto is just the fact that they may be understaffed or overworking people and like not giving enough people enough time to rebound and feel better. So it makes sense that everybody at work is getting sick. With the Mercury retrograde conjunct Pluto, Pluto rules your 8th. It's about viruses, just a heads up. So like this may be something that's a reoccurring theme if like people keep reinfecting each other for like the next 2 months, or it's going to lead to like some real profound shifts in how people are handling their time off or their call in, or how much time people are given to actually like get better, if that makes sense. Well, I mean, the good news is like, you say exaggerating and saying that like maybe you're sicker than you really are. One thing I would say to you is like with the 7 of Cups coming up and the Queen of Swords is, I don't know if there is like a woman or like a feminine energy at work or somebody who's a superior who you have to talk to or you have to deal with. Let me know. Queen of Swords can be somebody who's like a little cross and a little difficult when she is reversed to communicate with and deal with. So I'm more wondering like what the status and what the process is of letting somebody know that you're sick rather than just calling in, right? So like saying like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm feeling under the weather. I'm symptomatic. I'm testing negative, but I'm feeling very sick. Are you sure you want me to come in? That's 7 of Cups. So there may be something that you can do preemptively to be like, I'm just letting you know I'm not feeling well. So if I'm not able to come in, please don't be surprised because I'm not feeling so hot. Queen of Swords reverse might be somebody who's a little like, okay, like, you know, not great timing, but you know, what are we going to do? Especially if you feel like, I think your energy is drained and you're a little bit under the weather in general, just because of the sense of you having to take on responsibilities for other people. And if it's not a woman who you're having to deal with, this can be talking about you going back and forth and processing this and kind of asking yourself, you know, do I really feel bad? Am I looking for excuses to get out of here? And am I really needing a down day to just kind of decompress emotionally also? And then the Empress card is about health and wellness in general. So the other way that I look at this is like, you know, you want somebody who's going to be like, absolutely, I understand, take care of yourself. We don't need more staff sick. We don't need other people coming in and getting sick here. Like, do what you got to do. You have to call in at least 4 hours early the day before 16 shifts. I have to call. Yeah, she's scary. She's scary, but I think that it's better to call sooner rather than later and be like, look, I have all of these strange symptoms. I'm testing negative, but I am sick. I'm not feeling well. I don't feel like I want to be coming in. Not that I don't want to be there, but like I may not be testing positive yet. And frankly, I'm concerned because what if I do have, you know, the virus and then I come into work? I mean, framing it in that way to me makes me feel like the Empress card is about nurturing and taking care of yourself, but it may also be a situation where you're realizing like it's not worth risking your own health So there's that. She may surprise you, so she's scary, but she may turn around and go, okay, take care of yourself, call me, let me know, if you need anything, or check in with me, or she may even reach out to you and be like, are you better? Are you going to be able to come in next week? It may surprise you. So I'm not seeing any like negative repercussions. I just feel like Seven of Cups is not intentionally fabricating. It's like being like, I don't know, I have the sniffles, I have a fever, I don't feel well, I can't sleep, I can't put my finger on it, I don't feel well, and I'm concerned that I'm going to get worse or that I'm going to spread it at work. Yeah, I mean, whether you have it or not, it's like still, I was talking to somebody earlier today on the phone, and they were like talking about how like apparently like the next big thing is they're saying like how like the new variant is like fusing supposedly with like the flu bug. And so a lot of people are like, oh, it's like this super flu / like COVID thing. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Yeah, gotta put that out there. But whether you have it or you don't have it, to me, it seems like she should be concerned that number one, her staff is sick, and number two, unless she wants more people calling out sick, you don't want to have people who are sick coming into the office. So I would say that she may appreciate it if you kind of butter her up in a way and you call her early and go, listen, I know you've got a lot going on. I just have to tell you, like, I'm really not feeling so hot. And I know a lot of people have been calling in, but like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to kind of take a knee on this one. Half needing, half not wanting to be there because it's crazy. I'm almost done. My rapid is negative. Yeah, she has asthma, so she may take it serious. I mean, she will. The Empress is somebody who's like, obviously, I want you to get better. So it's like, what are you going to do? It's one thing if people are just like kind of BSing and they're calling in sick because they don't want to work. It's another thing if you have people who are really consistent and reliable and they have come to work consistently for a period of time and proven that they take their job seriously, but people get sick. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, with the stellium of planets in Capricorn in your 4th house right now and like the Venus retrograde, you may find that some people who you're working with, particularly women, are really difficult to deal with in the midst of having lots of changes at work. So there's that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. That's just me. The facility is 24/7, so they want you to come to work unless you're dead. It's a whole thing. Yeah. But also, that should tell you a lot. I think the Venus retrograde conjunct Pluto is going to show you whether or not you feel good partnering with companies, individuals, managers, businesses that don't seem to give a shit about whether or not their people are sick. So once again, it's just reconfirming what you already know. So I don't think there's anything with calling in sick. I would also say be mindful that there can be, with that 7 of Cups, other symptoms and other things that are coming up that have not hit you yet. So there's that. Okay, so let's look at your other question. And it looks like your other question was, where is it? Once I do show up Saturday or Monday, will it be a stable week at work in terms of people showing up, staff being there to support each other, particularly asking about Miss Jamie, who the kids respond well to and tends to be our leader when she shows up to work? Okay, let's take a look. So when you do go to work, will it be stable? You said you're almost on your way out and you're transferring to another department. So that's good. Just expect that like the work, just knowing I know about your chart, the work environment doesn't really shift and become easier until closer to March. Doesn't matter what department you're in, just because of all of the angles that you're having between your 7th and your 4th. Unfortunately, with the Pluto squares, it's like, it's not easy to make peace with people at work. I love to hear that you're moving more into a teaching position just because of your aspects that you have in Aquarius, and also from what I remember, your 12th house. It may really open up something that makes you realize like how much you really love being in a position of teaching, and it may also encourage you to further your education and stuff so you can do more formal teaching or working with those in need, or maybe even doing work revolving around Saturn in the 12th can be like social services or something like that, you know? Okay, so these are some positive cards. So here's the thing, like kind of building off what I was saying, people can't help being sick. Like, what are you going to do when the staff is going through phases of being ill? Like, obviously you're going to be understaffed, and like you may not get as much done as you would like to get done. Seven of Coins reverse makes me feel like there's definitely some slacking. So maybe it's because we're having people kind of pick up odd jobs that they're not used to doing, or maybe you're having people who are just doing the bare minimum once they're there. Especially when it comes to like cleaning, organizing, handling anything regarding money, food, resources. This is a card that makes me feel like when it's upright, it's like, okay, I'm planting my seeds, you know, hopefully everything's going to turn out fine. When it's reversed, it's like, well, when people do shoddy jobs or they don't necessarily handle the requirements on their shift, other people are going to come in and be like, dude, you left this place a mess, you didn't finish your paperwork, you didn't put this away. So like, yeah, you can kind of expect that. That's already been happening. So this is the what's been going on previously card. Temperance is also saying that it's a moment of acknowledgement that number one, practicing empathy and like being understanding and allowing people to heal and get better. This is a healing card. Temperance comes up when it's kind of like, look, you know, ebbs and flows, like making the best of the situation, rolling with the punches. Perhaps maybe this will be a turning point for the company or the business that's also going to make them realize like that they need to have better benefits or health care, or a cleaner space, or better health habits, or better hours, or whatever for their staff. So it may incentivize them to go, well, we're going to make sure that, you know, our staff members, we give them flu shots, or we offer flu shots, or maybe we're going to give them health insurance or better health insurance, or maybe we're going to make sure that there's orange juice and vitamins and hot tea. So something may come of this where they're going to be like, okay, those of you guys who have been pushing through and coming to work, we're going to do something that's going to help you guys at least feel better while you're here. And kind of like a rebalancing. And also it's a really nice energy for being like, you know what, people are sick. There's not much we can do other than just keep going on and do the best you can. So this may be an approach where, unfortunately, with all these planets in Capricorn, it's almost like this break down to the point where like some major companies or bigger institutions are realizing that if they don't value their employees, if they don't take their health seriously, if they don't take their feelings and their mood seriously, if they don't pay them more, whatever, then they're going to continue to have disgruntled employees, and it's actually going to affect the general overall productivity of the company, right? So I think of like Amazon workers and like other big company employees that may feel like they're overworked and underpaid and not appreciated. So the final card is the Magician. So it's actually saying like as above, so below. So as the cosmos are changing, as the planets are moving, as we're seeing some of these breakdowns where like old, outdated ways of just pushing through things is finally cracking wide open. The Magician can be people who come in with new ideas, or it can be like a new manager or a supervisor, or somebody who comes in and says like, I have an idea, you do this, you do that, let's rework things. It can also be talking about you as being like a magician of your own reality. You know, if you're psyching yourself out going, oh my God, I'm going to go back into work and it's going to be a hot ass mess and this, that, and the other. What you're thinking about, what you're worrying about, what you're manifesting can very well actually manifest. So a lot of it is about your perspective. The Magician for me is also a card that deals a lot with Pluto, and it can be talking a lot about like change is inevitable, and that change happens sometimes in like a very kind of mystical, magical way. If you've got a lot of people who are also not thrilled to be working for that department or that company, who are all not wanting to go to work, you're going to see an influx of people who are going to get sick because they don't want to go to work, right? So they're responding to things like vibrationally, and maybe that's the message that needs to be sent to the company for them to kind of realize that they need to better value their employees. So I think with the Magician coming up, it's saying it's going to all be what you make of it. Obviously, you know, I don't really see you as somebody who just wants to kind of check out and go, not my problem, see you later. But by the same token, if you have really kind of done a stand-up job thus far, and like you've really tried to help people show up on time, even show up in the midst of not feeling well, and if you're feeling like you're, you know, not being treated so well, the Magician can also be you kind of pulling a disappearing act and being like, you know what, they're having a difficult time. I get it, but I don't feel like I'm being met with appreciation, or I don't feel like people are being fair. You may see it as you being avoidant or like, not taking responsibility. But the Magician is also extremely aware that whatever environment he's in, he can, be affected by, or he can affect it, vice versa. In a lot of ways, I think you're getting pushed out, to be honest with you. And it'll make a lot more sense by the time you get to like April and May, when all these planets move into Aquarius, and you start seeing that it was meant to push you out because you're either supposed to work for a company or a department where there's like-minded people who want to work with each other and help each other, rather than it kind of being like, okay, well, survival of the fittest, like, whoever can last the longest and get work done will continue to have a job. You're moving away from that kind of mentality. So the Magician tells me that I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think, but definitely anticipate having kind of these little annoyances that are going to come up, because you are going to have select people who are just not going to do their end of the job, or what is expected of them on their shifts. So hopefully you're feeling better. Let me know how it goes. Hopefully that was helpful. I appreciate you. I know you check in for the lives quite frequently, so thank you for your donations. We've got Phoebe Heldman. Phoebe, let me know your question. Hey, Emma, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let us know if you want to get your reading in for the month. Phoebe, just let me know your question. I do see that the Magician, in terms of somebody showing up, the Magician makes me feel like somebody is going to show up and save the day, but it may be something that's not expected, or something that you didn't assume was going to take place. Especially the Temperance in the Magician may also be that there is like another person who somehow comes into the mix, or like a new staff member that's added to help with the process of like kind of cleaning up the mess. So I think it may surprise you that everything does come together the way that it's meant to. Definitely sending you good vibes so you can wrap up your last week. So Phoebe, if you're here, let me know your question. I did not see that, but I do see a payment for you. I also see Rachel. So if I don't hear from Phoebe, we'll check in with Rachel, and then we'll come back to Phoebe. All right, so Rachel, you're welcome, Kurt. Rachel, I will read for you first, and then we'll come back to Phoebe. Hopefully she pops back in. Otherwise, I'll do a general reading for her. Rachel, I don't know what to ask. Any guidance on my broken heart and moving past this? Sun in Taurus, Moon in Gemini, Virgo rising. Holy mutable changes. Venus retrograde in your 5th. Venus, Pluto, definitely heartbreak. I could see that, but also breakthrough. You're really going to start seeing when Venus goes direct and comes back into a sextile with Neptune, that things change. Like tomorrow is the Sun Venus Cazimi. So basically what we're going to see here is it's the halfway point through the Venus retrograde. So tomorrow is a very important day for earth signs because it's going to be kind of like, okay, where is this going? If it's happening in your 5th house, it's like going to be that turning point where maybe the heartbreak starts getting a little bit easier. You start kind of overcoming it. You start feeling better. And if you're a Virgo rising, then the sun rules your 12th house. So the Sun Venus Cazimi is like clearing out some kind of karma, some kind of pain, feeling alone, feeling isolated. But it can also materialize as like a spiritual breakthrough that you have, and a realization that you are going to overcome it, and that there's like a lot of heart healing that you're doing, or healing the inner child. But yeah, for everybody listening, tomorrow is a very important day. So it's going to tell you which way the Venus retrograde is going to break. So wherever Capricorn is your chart and whatever you've been working on, there will be breakthroughs where people are going to be more loving, but then there's also going to be situations with Venus retrograde conjunct the sun where some people are going to be like, I'm sick of this shit. This isn't working for me anymore. So let's see what your cards say. All right. Ouch. To me, and it's interesting, this card popped up, so I'll read that last. The Fool card is basically saying, like, maybe beating yourself up a little bit because you gave somebody a chance and you took a chance on someone, or you took a leap of faith, or maybe you tried something new, or you gave somebody the benefit of the doubt. The Fool is about Uranus, so I think of like Saturn squaring Uranus, where maybe there's been like love at a distance, or trying to find healthier relationships, but kind of running into reoccurring patterns where people are still playing out old wounds in old relationships. The Knight of Cups reversed and the Nine of Swords is just like flat out disappointment. Somebody's not who you thought they were. The Knight of Cups reversed can definitely be like a guy who rushed in and rushed out. You know, I'm always a little weary of knights personally, because knights are dedicated to their cause. So because they're on a horse, they will definitely come into a situation very quickly, but they can also leave. So I feel like I'm wondering, like, were you disappointed by a guy? Was there a water sign that came into your life and then, you know, they were not who you thought they were, or they weren't quite what they, you know, were cracked up to be? Nine of Swords is also like not sleeping well, up at night, upset, crying, anxiety, stress, feeling like, oh my gosh, why is this still happening? Why always me? And like literally lost sleep over it. And so one thing I would say is, if it's same guy, same situation, same patterns, for Venus to be going retrograde in your 5th house, really what it's asking you is like, do you want to continue this? Like, I'm a big fan of Venus retrograde personally, because I feel like it cleans out the fridge and all the garbage in relationships. So it gives us the opportunity to set the relationship straight. It's harder to find peace, so it may not feel as kind of like cathartic and loving and like self-love as it should. It's kind of like harsh and cold because it's in Capricorn. And this reality that, you know, unless you're really good to yourself and in a really good relationship with yourself, or loving yourself, or really valuing yourself, which takes work, Capricorn, you're going to find that you may keep falling into the same pitfalls of like expecting that somebody else is going to do it for you, right? Venus in Pisces, he's in and out. I keep giving him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, benefit of the doubt is the Fool card, but the Knight of Cups reversed and the Nine of Swords is like him telling you he's going to be more emotionally available, him telling you he's going to come through, him telling you he has feelings, and then he's nowhere to be found. This card was jumping out, so I pulled it to read it, and it's the Queen of Cups, which trumps the Knight of Cups, which is an interesting card, because really what it talks about is the fact that nobody's going to love you better than you. You have to do it yourself, right? Queen of Cups is a card that keeps coming up tonight. It's about being in alignment with your true self, your emotions, your feelings, being open and honest and vulnerable, but at the same time, she's a queen, so she is mastering the art of vulnerability. And vulnerability doesn't have to be this neatly packaged little perfect person. Sometimes it's calling somebody up and going like, I'm losing sleep over this. I'm sick of dealing with this. I thought you were something that you weren't. I would say don't hinder your feelings, or don't hold back with being upfront and honest, but at the same time, don't beat yourself up either. You know, the Fool card is like, hey, you gave it a shot, you tried, but you know, like if you're doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different outcome, you're going to make yourself crazy. So the Queen of Cups upright, thankfully, tells me that like there is room for emotional healing. You will rebound, you will be fine. But there is a need for you to kind of really ask yourself, how much energy are you giving to this emotional connection with this person? How many times do you want to keep going through the same pattern and finding yourself losing time, worrying, being anxious, being sad over this person? That's really what this is about. So when you make the decision to go, okay, I'm trying something new. I'm not waiting for him to call me. I'm not looking at it as he's not showing up for me. I'm going to, you know, kind of turn the tables a little bit and focus more on me. So when he does come back around, I'm going to let him know I wasn't waiting for him, because, you know, I'm not emotionally going to invest myself in somebody who's not ready anymore. So there's something about this that's like the breakthrough. I also have to tell you, with Jupiter going into your 7th house and Mars and Venus conjuncting with Pluto, come March, April, May, something so much better is coming that you may have such a strong appreciation for the boundaries that you created with this person and not allowing somebody to kind of make you feel like you're an option. You know, I think Venus and Mars and Pluto in the 5th house is like not putting up with people who, number one, make you feel like an option, but number two, it's like, don't allow yourself to take up with people who are being reckless with your heart, point blank. And like getting really serious about that and like learning to basically cut people off, even though the heart wants what the heart wants. If you're finding that this is somebody who's not being very responsible with your feelings and kind of in and out and hot and cold, right? That's a really important piece of the puzzle. Especially because with Jupiter and Neptune going fully into your 6th house, making sextiles to Pluto, there's going to be a breakthrough, and it's almost like the sacrifice of either the time that you have with this person where you take a break or just sacrificing the person completely will make sense when like Jupiter and Venus and Mars and everything go through your 7th house. You're going to be like, no wonder I couldn't make it work with that person. Oh my God, why did I lose so much sleep over that person? Like, what was I thinking? Oh, okay, the reason being is because this other person was coming in. So I look at the Venus retrograde in your 5th house, especially because Venus rules your 9th about beliefs and it rules your 2nd, which deals with resources or what you value, is instead of looking at it as he didn't choose you, you need to choose you, point blank. By doing so, your whole emotional outlook is going to shift, you know, and letting him go more in a sense of one of two things is going to happen. Either it ain't going to work or he's going to come back and you're going to be like, you need to come correct. Otherwise we can't do this at all. But don't beat yourself up for taking a risk and for trying. Just don't keep doing the same shit. Trust me on this, because this next couple of months, when all of these planets move into your 6th house, you're going to see how all of the stress from heartbreak and worrying and going through this cycle with somebody can affect your health. Okay, so you really don't want to be in the midst of that. Trust me. Saturn, Mars, Venus, all those planets going into your 6th house, stress is going to be something that can really affect your health, and it's not worth it. So look at how much time you're spending on this person. Take a fraction of that and reinvest it in yourself. And get some sleep. Up, worrying, stressed out. Girl, he's not in a room asking questions with tarot cards about you. You know, I got to tell you, like, that Knight of Cups reverse makes me wonder, what's he doing other than self-sabotaging? Is he isolating? Is he drinking? Is he doing drugs? Is he so confused with his own emotions that he doesn't know how to talk about how he feels? Venus and Pisces don't have a tendency to recognize or realize what they've lost until it's gone. Just a heads up. So pulling the rug out from the situation might be enough to just really see where things stand. Sending you lots of love. Do lots of things that bring you fun, even if it sounds silly. Like Pluto, Venus in the 5th is dancing and painting and creating and having playtime and getting serious about playtime. Start structuring and creating time for that, right? On a regular basis. That's what your transits want you to do. And also taking dating seriously, because you do, so the people who you date should also. Hopefully that's helpful. Feel better. You're going to watch what happens in the spring. Circle back around. You're going to be like, why did I lose sleep over that asshole? Like, that's literally what's going to happen. So you'll see. Phoebe, there you are. Is that you, PC3? Hi, Candace. I wanted a general reading for what's been going on for me the past week. And next week is the person I am working with genuine or all talk. Sifting through options this month. All right, let's take a look. Thank you for your question. We're going to call last call here soon, guys. You want to get your readings in. Do consider doing so soon. So questions in regarding to the person who you're working with. Are they genuine or all talk? Ooh. Thank you too. I love you too. A lot of repetitive cards coming up. Here's the thing. One thing I would say is that the Lovers card really does talk about the importance of weighing your options and not kind of settling on just one particular person. So I'd hear them out. This is a communication card. It's a Mercury card. It makes me feel like there's a lot of kind of seeing what both parties can bring to the table. My concern is looking at the Five of Coins reversed is like, can this person really help you make more money? Are they really going to be able to help you increase revenue? Are they really going to be investing? You know, the Five of Pentacles is a card that's about being out in the cold, but when it's reversed, it's basically saying things have been tough. You've been doing a lot of this on your own. You don't need any more setbacks or any more strife. You don't need a situation where somebody's telling you that they're going to help you only to leave you hanging. So I do think that it's important for you to see tangible physical proof, whether this is financial documentation, a business plan, a credit score, like something revolving around like, okay, you know, I need something tangible to see that maybe you really have been able to help people make their mark. Especially if this is somebody who can increase sales or revenue of some kind, I would say the proof will be in the pudding. It's definitely something that you want to see. And then the Knight of Cups coming up in the final card is like, even in spite of you putting this person through it and asking a lot of questions and wanting to have proof or whatever, to me, it seems like they're very emotionally confident and they're still going to show up and be like, and I still want to work with you and I still want to help you. I'm wondering in what capacity, you know, you guys working together. I'm a little iffy right now because we are in Mercury shadow. So when it comes to like business and business agreements, little staticky, especially because, you know, the shadow can be just extremely active. But Venus-Pluto conjunctions, you know, I feel like whatever is going to stick more in about 5 weeks time. So I would also say if this is somebody you're going to work with who is promising you to grow your business or expand your client outreach or whatever, I would want to see like not only who they've worked with in the past, but how long that took, what percent they took in the midst of that, and what their plans would be working for you. And you would have to give it some time. This isn't going to be like a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not going to happen overnight. It may take 5 weeks, 5 months. But I think that this person is at least emotionally invested in, even if you ask all the questions and everything, they're going to still keep coming back and be like, I still want to work with you. Okay, you know, what is it going to take for you to trust me? I would say don't mix business and pleasure. I don't know if this is a thing, but, you know, the Lovers card and the Knight of Cups makes me kind of feel like there can be this very charming kind of charismatic thing where there can be somebody who can have the potential to tell you what you want to hear, or it can very much be somebody who there's some other interests that they may have outside of business. So I would try to focus on keeping it business. But also the Lovers card is a card that talks about trust and like finding other people who can kind of show you a perspective that may be a blind spot. So I think that in that sense, you're definitely calling more partnership or more people into your gravitational pull, because it's almost like you need people to kind of help you build up the things within your professional life that you can't quite, you know, see. Oh, so they are. Yeah. No, we don't mix business and pleasure with these cards. You know, the Lovers card can be romantic offers. The Knight of Cups can be somebody who's emotionally interested. But this does make me feel like if you've been hitting a stall with business stuff, they actually can help you. It's kind of like, well, what do you need? I can help you. Cool, let them help you. You know, focus on the business stuff first. See if that actually really grows and improves. And if they want to stay consistent with it, there can be some sense of learning more about trust with this person through the process of working together. But like, I don't know if that really should be a thing right now. Maybe down the road, you know, you give it a couple of months time and you can see that, you know, they're reliable, they're not all talk, you can trust them. This person does have a great way with words though. I think the Lovers and the Knight of Cups is like somebody who would do well with sales, somebody who would do well with client relations. He may really help you improve and network and meet other people also. He might go, well, I have just the right person for you. So I don't feel like this is like a slimy vibe, but I definitely feel like you need to keep it business first. And if there is that romantic interest, which looks a little sticky, I would not venture into that yet. Let's see if he helps you get the work stuff moving and shaking first. And Five of Pentacles reversed is, to be honest with you, if you have been stuck or in a stall, or if you haven't seen the progress that you want, when you've been in that position, you can only go up from there. So I don't see things getting worse. I see things getting better because you've already kind of either plateaued or you've already kind of hit a bit of a moment where you're like, I need some help. So it's only going to be, you know, positive and a little bit easier from here on out. I'm interested in who he knows or who he has relationships with or who he can introduce you to, because that does seem to be like another thing that's like schmoozing, socializing, connecting with other people to some extent, really helping you, you know, kind of connect with other people so you can really expand what you're doing. Okay, great. It threw me off a little. Well, I mean, here's the other thing, not buying into the romantic stuff and not allowing yourself to fall into that, I feel like is going to create incentive to really make sure he sees the whole working together professional thing through. And once you've, you know, wrapped that up, or once you've gotten to where you want to go, if you do want to bite, you may, but I don't think it's going to happen for a couple months. I would say, you know, let that be the incentive to see what's going, but don't mix the two. Hopefully that's helpful for you. So we got Sandra and Kristen. You are very welcome. He's a charmer. The Lovers in the Knight of Cups. Charming. Sandra asks 2 questions. I'm a Cappy Sun, Cancer Moon, Aquarius Rising, Cap Venus. Woo, girl. So, Aquarius Rising, 12th house Sun, 12th house Venus. And just with the Venus retrograde and the Mercury retrograde, oh man, my head's spinning. Ex-Scorpio has returned once again, giving me more info about why things had to happen the way they did, acknowledging he was protecting me by breaking up. We're sort of texting now. Was his intentions of returning? I would like to attract a loyal, committed relationship. Is there stuff I need to work through to make that happen? Okay, cool. Hey, Speedy. That's a cool nickname. All right, so let's start first with the ex and what the ex wants. Girl, I'm super, I don't know, a Mercury retrograde on your ascendant, which is like be very careful with how much information you give him. Like, don't give away all of how you're thinking or what you're feeling, because to some extent you're still working through that. And like, I would keep my cards very close to my chest and like not tell him everything or like how you're feeling about everything. A Venus retrograde in the 12th can definitely bring in a very enticing love or a lover back from the past who's going to tell you why they disappeared or where they went. So this is like super, super textbook. What degree is your Venus? Because you said you have Capricorn Venus. So if Pluto is conjunct your Venus anywhere right now, if Venus is going retrograde over your natal Venus, so if it's anything past about 11 degrees, 11 to 26 degrees, it's in the line of fire, which means you will have 3 Venus returns. So Cap Venuses really need to pay attention to what's going on in their love life right now, because it's going to show you make or break situations in relationships. So let's see first what his intentions are, and is he trying to return? Oh shit. How many times is the Lover's card gonna come out, man? Like, what the fuck? All right, so, I mean, obviously, there's a reoccurring theme tonight, which is like, do I do this or do I do that? The Lover's reverse still is like very much about temptation. I feel like regardless of what he told you, it's a lot of like, well, I wasn't ready to commit yet, so therefore it was easier to break up because I wasn't fully over my ex, or I didn't know how to commit and I technically didn't want to hurt you. If you want to expand on that, feel free to. The Lover's card makes me feel like there could have been some messiness with like not knowing what to choose or what to pick. And sometimes threes of crowd scenarios come up with the Lover's reversed, especially if he has any planets in Gemini. The Strength card is the right now card. So this is cool because it's saying like really the power is in your hands. It's not in his hands. The Strength card is basically saying that, you know, if you love something, set it free, right? If it comes back and you're not having to contain it, or if you're not having to be the one to tell him to commit or make him stay or whatever. Notice that she's embracing the lion. She's not putting a muzzle on the lion. The lion's not on a leash. It's not in a cage. The lion has not been sedated. She's literally just hugging the lion and embracing the lion. So this talks a lot about your sun placement, and the fact that maybe being a 12th house sun, you're very compassionate, you're understanding, you're emotional, you're sentimental. So there's something going on here where you're like, yeah, you know, I can understand, but still abandonment is it's a sore spot for you, right? Or people not being completely forthcoming or honest with you, especially women who have 12th house suns. There is this like fear of abandonment, or like where men go and what they're doing when they're gone. Then we have 10 of coins. So this is interesting because this deals with long-term planning, goals, commitments, relationships. This is a card that's about long-term families, like, you know, the person who you get with and you marry and you stay with forever, the business that you start with your significant other and it grows into like a family business or like a really significant connection to your lineage. Did he talk to you in any way, shape, or form about fears of commitment, marriage, or children? Because the Strength card can also be children. Has that been something that's come up as well? Did he mention that at all? You know, I feel like this is a turning point. You know, being an Aquarius rising, you are in a situation right now where Saturn is going to go deeper into your first house. Uranus is in your fourth. And the South Node is going to be in Scorpio in your 10th. And the North Node is going to be in your 4th house. So over the next year and a half, you're going to experience things like changes with where you're living, possibly entertaining moving in, living with somebody, moving to a different city or a different home, going in the direction also of focusing less on your career, more on home and family and marriage and or relationships. And you might find that over the next 18 months, you move, get married, buy a house, start a family. So these things that are coming up here make me feel like maybe he realized that you weren't really screwing around and that you're serious when it comes to relationships. Capricorn Venus in general has a plan, so it's like unless you're planning for the long term, you usually don't stick around. But Venus in the 12th house has a more kind of Pisces feeling, where it's also about like tradition. And so you may feel like tradition is really important, and like having somebody who wants the traditional family and has that traditional role or marriage or whatever is important. And yeah, Venus retrograde over a natal Venus can definitely bring back very significant relationships or partnerships, especially because Venus for you rules the part of your chart that deals with commitment and connection and stuff like that. So let me know if you know the degree of your Venus. If Pluto is around there, I can tell you because I know where Pluto is. But this makes me feel like maybe he was just more afraid of the fact that you wanted something real. And is he coming back? Yes. But to me, it seems like you're going to crack the whip a little bit and be like, my feelings haven't changed. I still, I still feel the same way. I still want what I want. If that's scary for you, keep it moving, right? Like that's the feeling that I'm getting. All right. And also, he may have issues pertaining to his upbringing. I'm moving the next few months in your parents' old home, renting out my home. See, there you go, changes. All right, so let's see the second half of your question, which was, I would like to attract a loyal and committed relationship in 2022. Is there stuff I need to work through to make this happen? Aquarius risings, definitely, for sure. That's in the cards. What sign is this guy? Is he an air sign or a fire sign? You know, there's two kings coming up here. This card jumped out too. Three of Wands with the Emperor. So King of Swords is like, you know, somebody who's direct, they're communicative, they say what they think and they feel, and they're all about it. The Emperor makes me feel like there's a turning point when you get to about Aries season. So the end of March, maybe the beginning of April. There can be like a, you know, like shift that's happening. Okay. So the person who you're going to end up with is somebody who is going to be communicative and taking action. King of Swords is like, this is what I think, this is what I want, this is how I feel. The Emperor and the Three of Wands makes me feel like it's going to be about somebody who's taking initiative. Now, they can have a lot of Mars energy, so it can be a much more communicative Scorpio and like plans for the future. A lot of Scorpio risings are having issues right now because there's Saturn in their 4th house and Uranus in their 7th. So they're having to emotionally adapt to new living situations and relationships, and they're acting up a little bit. So I would say wait until about March going into April. There is going to be a segue where it's either going to be a change in somebody's demeanor. I personally think it's going to be a completely different person. That's just the vibe that I'm getting. I think that if you don't see any action with him by then and that he's not taking initiative, somebody else will already show up who's probably an air sign, or they have some combination of air and Aries. So let's say like they're an Aquarius with an Aries rising or something, right? Something like that. It'll have that combination in their chart, and they'll be like, well, where do you see yourself going? What are you looking for? What are you doing? What's your plan? And they'll be more communicative. You know, men who have a lot of Scorpio placements can be fearful of change or, you know, transformation or vulnerability. When the King of Swords comes in and he's like, let's talk about it. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm doing. So it'll be somebody who's very open communication-wise with how they're feeling and what direction they're going in. But there's another person coming. It can take about 3 weeks, 3 months. I would say this shift is going to happen for you, I think, more at the end of March going into April. But yeah, somebody is coming. And the Emperor is like husband material, father material, somebody who's also got their career together. They're really adamant about being on the path and going in the direction of making things happen. And they're very confident, right? They're like, okay, were you going to go out with me? You know, are we together? Are we this? Like, that's the kind of vibe that you're going to get. It's more air and fire rather than it is water. Hopefully that's helpful. Aquarius rising, man, you guys, Saturn's on your side, so you're calling the shots. Okay, so we've got Kristen, 3 cards. Make sure we're not missing anybody. All right. All right, Kristen, here's your 3 cards coming right up. I swear if we pull the Lover's card again, I'm going to lose my shit. All right. So here's 3 cards we have not seen this evening. The Sun, the High Priestess, the 3 of Swords reversed. Someone from the past came back on Monday through chat. I feel like he's testing the waters. What do you feel about this connection the next couple months? Well, I feel like I would really reflect on the past and ask yourself, have you already been there, done that with pain and healing and overcoming something in regards to this person? 3 of Swords is coming up, but it is coming up reversed. So it is saying like moving out of heartbreak, not allowing yourself to fall back into a position of being vulnerable and getting hurt again. It's about being stronger and recovering or overcoming something. The Sun card and the High Priestess are such great cards. It's saying like you're in a moment where you're riding high, confidence is good, you're doing well, you're focusing on happiness, your vision. I don't get the impression that this is bad news bears. I think that this is more a test for you to see if you're asking yourself if you can go back there again. Does he fit into your vision? You know, the Sun card is about warmth and joy and being good on your own. And the High Priestess talks about your vision. I feel like with the 3 of Swords coming up, and the bottom card being the World, can sometimes be like one of the kindest things that you can do is like, look, you know, I acknowledge that we have some weird spiritual connection and there's love between us, but maybe not this lifetime. And it's also like making peace with the past in a way, and like closing the door, but not feeling like you have to close the door to the connection, but kind of going like, I love you, you know, I have appreciation for you. I'm not really in that same place that I was when we were together. I appreciate you checking in. You know, Venus retrograde in general is like a do-si-do. There's like lots of like soulmate drama. Like you'll have people from the past come back and like check in. But to me, this screams more a test for you. And whether or not you are actually going to heal and release and let go. You may find that like whatever drama you guys had between you, or like, you know, the pain of what happened when you guys broke up, it finally heals and you feel that like there is a lot of love there, but not this lifetime. That's the vibe that I'm getting. The World card being on the bottom is really seeing cycles are completing. So if you had a lot of like back and forth kind of karmic stuff, now it's finally coming to terms that's like, yeah, there's always going to be something between me and that person, but not this lifetime, probably not. You can communicate and you can talk to them, but I would say you really need to pay attention to your intuition. The High Priestess brings things in. She sits and she waits. So there's not a lot of like you taking action in this connection with this guy. You don't need to be calling him. You don't need to be reaching out to him. Let him do it and then sit and see how it feels, because you may realize that it's not a matter of not having feelings. It's just a matter of you being a lot more self-aware and being a little bit further along in like the self-development path, that staying in the relationship was hurting yourself because you couldn't evolve when you were staying with him. There wasn't drama, just misunderstandings. Well, you can smooth that over now, but these cards don't make me feel like you're going to take him back. The cards make me feel like you're going to go, yeah, you know, we've got a connection, but we're just going to let this be, and maybe in our next like reincarnation and our next go around, because you're not really in a place of being open to getting hurt again. You're still on the mend with some stuff for whatever reason. Three of Swords is like, hey, I just got out of something, you know, I don't really necessarily know if I can do it. So there's something about that makes me feel like you're going to go, yeah, sorry, I can't, but you know, I appreciate it and I'm glad that you're there, type of energy or vibes. Hey, Anjali, you just barely made it, girl. Let me know if you would like to get in your question for the month. I was just letting my audience know we've got also the 15th, 22nd, and 29th. So if you want to use that now, you can, or you can wait, whatever works for you. One thing I would say for you, I guess in closing, KB, is any dreams that you have or anything that comes up for you that's very visual, pay attention to that big time. Because when the sun comes up with the High Priestess, it's like highlighting the fact that you may have an intuitive hit or a feeling that's like, probably not, or I'm not in the mental mind space or capabilities of getting hurt again. So, you know, protecting yourself. All right, Anjali, do you have a particular question about anything? Let me know. Yes, next week will be live astrology readings. And those of you guys who are watching and you're digging this, I would say definitely consider, if you want to join my memberships, you can get a reading. Yeah, clear visions, KB, for sure. Clear as day with the sun being there. It's like epiphanies, like, oh, this person's coming back because I'm sending, you know, cosmic SOS calls. So soulmates usually respond when you're doing that, you know? All right, Anjali says, I'd like to know about my connection with my crush. We connected again. Oh man, next week's live stream is going to be so intense. It's going to be like right around the time we're getting ready to have a full moon in Cancer. Definitely going to be, that's a show you don't want to miss. It's going to be some teary-eyed water signs. Thanks, KB. All right, Anjali, let's see what you need to know about connecting with your crush. Queen of Pentacles, Knight of Cups, Wheel of Fortune. Man, that Knight of Cups just keeps popping up. What's going on? Are all like the Rico Suave, like fuckboys on the prowl this week? Like, what's happening? Okay, so Queen of Pentacles is a great card to be pulling for you because she is the person who's in power. She says who, what, where, when, how, all that kind of stuff. But Queen of Pentacles is also staying cool, calm, and collected. So it's like not allowing things to kind of shake you, really knowing your value, being really clear about what is important to you, what does and does not work, that kind of stuff. During this retrograde, we kind of had a huge hiccup, but the energy has been strong anyway, and it feels nice. Oh, baby. Yeah, I mean, Queen of Pentacles is cool because there is this sense of you being like, and I'm busy. I've got a lot going on. I'm working, I'm making money, I'm hustling, I'm investing in myself. And the Knight of Pentacles coming up is like, maybe that being something that kind of turns him on or makes him work harder. I would say like, focus on yourself first, getting your job or jobs or other things kind of handled, and keep him wanting more. Because Knight of Cups is kind of like, okay, well, can I come and see you tonight? Yeah, probably not tonight, maybe this weekend. Okay, but I'll come over. No, it doesn't really work for me. I don't have time. Okay, but I'll come over and bring you dinner. No, that's okay. I already ate. I'm not saying play hard to get, but there is this sense of when the timing is right, you know, that will happen, leaving him wanting more. The Nine of Cups is definitely a more romantic energy, more connections and being able to kind of share, allowing him to show up and bring something. So he may get kind of more forward with, can we go out to dinner? Can we go out? Can I see you? He'll start asking more. And what I love about the earth and the water aspects together is we have this right now. Lots of planets in Capricorn. We're starting to see sextiles to planets like Neptune and also Jupiter in Pisces. So it's a lot of like the practical work, the emotional stuff later. So there's something about the build up and really taking your time and making it something very practical, like a slow burn, but not because you're not interested, but just because you want to see if he's actually going to do the work, right? Knight of Cups also makes me feel like he might be a little bit more emotional and vulnerable, wearing his heart on his sleeve, telling you how he feels, being romantic, saying sweet stuff, all of those great things that come with the Knight of Cups. So there can be this feeling where he's like, oh my God, I'm falling in love with her, or just being a little bit more forward and emotionally vulnerable. Then we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Have you guys talked about like going on a trip together? Are you guys going to be traveling together? Is there some talk about like going somewhere that you guys have both never been? Are you guys both going through just like a real positive kind of winning streak where like things are really working well for you guys both on an individual level with your careers and you're like, hey, we should celebrate? The Wheel of Fortune is a card that talks about fate playing a role, and sometimes it's a card that comes up for timing. So I definitely feel like the Wheel of Fortune can basically be saying like, okay, you know, in March, you know, let's actually do it. Let's take that week-long vacation and be reminding each other that, you know, we can see each other when we can and that we're working hard with the intention of being able to go away together. Oh, cool, you have. Awesome. So, I mean, I think this is wonderful. I think you're going to talk about this more in March, you know, February, March. I would say that the Wheel of Fortune comes up a lot for travel. I think of like Jupiter and Venus and all the planets that are going to be moving through Pisces. So you might want to look for some of those dates as like times where you could go and like book a hotel by the beach, or you can go somewhere that you want to go and visit that you can, you know, take a holiday. He lives in Canada, and so we would like to see each other. It's been discussed. Yeah, that's what's coming. So I definitely feel like that's on the cards for you between February and May. But I also feel like if he's on a horse, let him come to you. So whether that's him coming and visiting you or him meeting you in another location, you know, letting him kind of romance you and kind of win you over, I think is the way to go. When the time is right. So the Wheel of Fortune is saying that the wheel is turning, fortune is getting ready to be on your side, and that it's all just a matter of timing. I think that being that a queen always trumps the knight, I love the feeling that he is hearing how busy you are, and it's like, you know, for you to make time for him, it's about you reminding him, I'm working you into my schedule. I'm busy. So he's going to start getting it in his head that's like, oh, well, I better not waste her time. Like, you know, this, that, and the other. That's more of how he's going to be thinking. But in the meantime, like, let the sweetness continue. Allow him to, you know, reach out to you and do the pursuing. And you might kind of feel like he's laying it on a little bit thick the next couple of weeks. But that's also because there can be a sense of like insecurity in him wanting to see that you're going to reciprocate. So let him take the lead. I definitely think that it's the way to go. And a lot of you staying busy, I think, is actually really good also, because you're not getting too fixated or focused on that connection. Hopefully that's helpful for you. You have to let me know how that goes. Hopefully you're able to see him and spend some time with him. Certainly long distance relationships are not easy ones, but it's worth it when you guys are able to see each other. Thank you guys for watching my live. I appreciate it. I am going to be back giving you guys my weekly, probably Sunday or Monday, just depends on what day I'm able to get that done, but look for that. That's going to be coming soon. And also we're in the midst of a Mercury shadow. So between what I said about the Venus Cazimi tomorrow's an important day to watch for the midpoint for the Venus retrograde, and we're in the shadow. So you're definitely going to feel some of the weird energy that is going on this week. So make sure you tune into the weekly and hear what I have to say so you know how it's going to affect you. Hey, Jackie. Thank you for staying up and saying hi on the live. It's nice to see you. Otherwise, I will see all of you guys in just a couple days. Appreciate your support and watching. Like I said, next week is going to be on Saturday. It's going to be astrology. So if that's something that you want to do, make sure you tune in next Saturday. All right, guys, enjoy your weekend, and I will see all of you very soon. Take care.